thoughts surrounding comments that Donald Trump made at last night's Commander-in-Chief Forum. He criticized American generals as having been, quote, reduced to rubble under President Obama, suggesting he knows more about ISIS than America's greatest military minds.
So let me read some of the things you said. I know more about ISIS than the generals do. Believe me. Was that the truth?
Well, the generals under Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have not been successful.
Do you know more about ISIS than they do?
I think under the leadership of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, the generals have been reduced to rubble. They have been reduced to a point where it's embarrassing for our country.
Joining me now, the architect of the successful Iraq surge, the general who is chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, General Jack Keane. Great to see you, sir.
Yeah, good to see you, Meg.
What do you think of that?
Well, I'm not sure what he meant by it, but let me just put some facts on the table. It's well established now by many of us that we've had a weak American president, commander-in-chief, for almost 8 years now, and that makes generals look weak. We may have some politicized generals if that's what he's implying, but the reality is that every major force level decision, Megan, that our generals have made, this president has rejected. In early 2009, a campaign plan developed by Petraeus, General, and General McChrystal to defeat the Taliban. They required a minimum force of 40,000. President Obama rejected that recommendation and provided 25% less. He also decided he would pull the force out in 12 to 15 months. Those two decisions doomed Afghanistan to the current state we find it now, a protracted, stalemated war, and robbed us of the opportunity for victory. In 2011, General Alston, four-star commander in Iraq, recommended to the president a force level of over 20,000. The president rejected it and pulled out all the forces with what is now known as a disastrous consequence in Syria. In 2012, General Dempsey, General Petraeus, director of the CIA, Secretaries Panetta, and Secretary Clinton recommend to the president robustly arm and train the Syrian moderates. He says no. In 2013, conduct a military strike, same national security team, against the Assad regime because he violated the chemical red line. He says no. In Afghanistan, in Iraq, and in Syria.
You could go on, but your point is Trump is not wrong that, if you think about it, the generals have been reduced to rubble. In other words, they've been reduced to almost useless because whatever they tell this commander-in-chief, he disregards.
Yeah, and then in 2014, what happened is, as opposed to asking him what are we going to do about ISIS, he says, I want to destroy ISIS after they behead our Americans and invade Iraq. He tells them what they're not going to do. No boots on the ground. The minimum 300 advisors. Of course, he changed that 9 times. An air campaign with no civilian casualties, and we're not going to be able to provide an air-ground team to help make that campaign more effective. We have never, ever had those kind of restrictions in placed on us, in my understanding of military history in this nation. That's the truth of it. Those kind of restrictions are unprecedented.
General Jack Keane, a man who knows of what he speaks when it comes to fighting a war, which he's done many times. Thank you for being here, sir.